Assalamu alaikum, dear students. This is Mrs. Munazzatura with another video lecture on Goodbye, Mr. Chips. Students, in this video lecture, we will discuss chapter number 4 of the novel included in your syllabus, that's Goodbye, Mr. Chips. This chapter number 4 deals with the most important event in the life of Mr. Chips, that is his encounter with his wife, Catherine Bridges. The year was 1896 when Chips was 48 years old, and he had been given the housemastership. And during the summer vacation of spring 1896, during the summer vacations of 1896, he, along with his colleague Rawdon, visited Lake District. He stayed at a farmhouse in Westall Head. However, after a week of climbing and walking around and enjoying each other's company, his friend had to leave on some private or some family business. One day, Mr. Chips was climbing the Great Gable. While climbing the Great Gable, Mr. Chips noticed a young girl standing at a dangerous looking ledge, and he saw her waving to someone. He thought that she was in danger, and she was asking for some help. So he rushed towards her. He wanted to rescue the lady, but in doing so, he got his ankle wrenched or sprained. Regretfully, Chips found himself to be rescued instead of the one who could rescue the girl. And again, this girl, we are told by the writer, she was an expert climber, and what was she doing over there? She was only signaling to her friend who was standing at the foot of the gap. She was not at all in any kind of danger, but this very small event, but this small misunderstanding resulted in the meeting of Mr. Chips with his future wife, Catherine Bridges. Then Catherine Bridges was a modern woman. She was a young modern woman. The writer told us Mr. Chips' views about modern women. He said that Mr. Chips, who lived in Brookfield, and from the heaven of Brookfield, when he looked at the world, to him even the innovations seemed reprehensible. And when he looked at the modern woman, it filled him with horror. He called them monstrous creature, and he would think that he don't care for women, and he never felt at ease with them. Mr. Chips disliked the radical writers. He disliked the ones who talk about things which were not conservative or orthodox. They talk new things like Bernard Shaw and Ibsen. Ibsen's plays were disturbing, as Ibsen was the writer who talked about women's identity to be established. Mr. Chips also disliked the growing craze for bicycling among the girls. It was a sign of independence these women were asking for. Students, remember here that up till this time, or in the 20th century, women were given the right to vote even in Europe. Up till that time, they were neither allowed to take admission in the universities for higher education, or nor they were allowed to cast vote. Mr. Chips had a very vague notion about a nice man and a nice woman. And the writer says that if ever that unclear idea about a nice man and a nice woman were to be formulated, it would be like a nice man treat women politely with distant chivalry, and a nice woman for Chips was an entity that would be timid, weak, and delicate. And again, Mr. Chips did not like the writers who talk about or who favored modern women. Catherine Bridges, on the other hand, she was a charming young girl of 25. We are told that she was young enough to be the daughter of Chips if Chips had married at the right time. She had blue flashing eyes, freckled cheeks, and smooth straw-colored hair. She was a governess out of job. Right now, she was visiting Lake District like Mr. Chips along with her friend, and she was staying at a farm. Now she was the one who considered herself responsible for Chips' accident. Therefore, she was regularly visiting Chips at his farmhouse, and she had radical views in politics, quite unlike Chips, and she favored the admission of women in universities and advocated women's right to cast vote. She regularly admired Bernard Shaw, and William Morris, who were radicals. She was very talkative, and during those days in which she attended to Chips, she poured out all her ideas, all her views to Chips, and she was the one who was nice enough to brought down Chips from the Great Gable with the help of her friend after Chips had got sprained ankle. Then, girls, Catherine's initial views about Chips are told to us. Now, Chips was an orthodox, middle-aged man with some permanent habits, and he was very quiet and serious-looking man. And Catherine Bridges, she was very modern and she was very young and she was very enthusiastic as she was an advocate of women's liberty, and her opinion about the old middle-aged men who read the Times was that they were very poor and very uninteresting company. Now, Chip's thoughts about Catherine Bridges were also not that much desirable. He wondered that how this girl, how brave this girl was. She was unafraid of visiting a man or staying all alone in a farmhouse by herself. And Chips had thought that the idea of new women of 90s would repel him, but Catherine Bridges was there, and Mr. Chips listened to her talks. He could not stop her from visiting him because he needed her. He needed her help to take him out, and when she poured out her opinions to him, he could not contradict her because of two reasons. Firstly, he was not articulate. Secondly, he considered it worthwhile. He did not consider it worthwhile to do so. Mr. Chips used to hobble with a stick on a path leading to the church and sat on the stone slab with Catherine Bridges facing the green-brown majestic gable and the sun, and it was what he recalled very much at Mrs. Wickett's place. Now, both of these two different people, they developed liking for each other. Catherine Bridges first started taking interest in Chips because he was a challenge for her. She was attracted by his gentle manners and honest views. She then started liking his blue eyes and smiling face, and then she confessed that she loved him. Miss Chips, on the other hand, admitted that he enjoyed listening to her. And then, just within a week, they were head over heels in love with each other, and they considered themselves engaged before Chips could walk without a stick. They married in London a week before autumn term. So this is how middle-aged Mr. Chips married a young girl in 1896, autumn of 1896. Now students, on this slide I have written down the characteristics of Catherine and Mr. Chips. these characteristics show how different these two personalities were. Mr. Chips was middle-aged, whereas Catherine was barely 25. He was appointed as a housemaster in 1896 and he was settled as a teacher in Brookfield, whereas Catherine was governess out of job with some savings. Mr. Chips was conventional in politics and had orthodox views about women, whereas she had radical views in politics and she favored the modern women. He was silent, she was talkative. He was the one who was rescued and she was the one who was the rescuer. She rescued him. And then here is the vocabulary list. You have to prepare this vocabulary. Just write down the meaning of these words. The first word is stirred. Stirred means excite, to stimulate. Then recollections means memories, power to recollect, power to recall. Then predictable. Predictable means foreseeable, that could be foretold. Then relish. Relish is a term related to food. Over here it means delight or enjoyment. Then innovation. Innovation means a new invention, novelty. Vague. Vague means unclear. Encounter. Encountered means met. Encounter means meet. Encountered, met. Freckled. Catherine had freckled cheeks. Freckle means spotted. Then ledge. Ledge means a narrow shelf which sticks out from a vertical surface, like पहाड़ी का जो कोना होता है. Then ranched. Ranched means sprained, twisted, mooch. Monstrous. Monstrous means horrible. Conventional. Conventional means traditional, ravaiti, orthodox. Reprehensible. Reprehensible, extremely bad. The one towards whom you are not attracted. Blameworthy. Chivalry. Chivalry means politeness. Steep. Bluff. Dalwan. Then sprain. Sprain means ranch. That is, again, sprain means mold, twist, twisting of a joint. Radical. Radical means revolutionary. Revolutionary. Then worthwhile. Worthwhile, beneficial, something useful. Disapproved. Disapprove means not approved. Dislike, denounce. Articulate. Articulate means to express in words, to say something properly. Hobble. Hobble means to walk with a limp. Glimpse. Glimpse means brief look. Revealed. Revealed means bring to light, brought to light. It's revealed, so brought to light. Formulated. Formulated means to form, to give given shape, expressed clearly. Housemaster. Now Mr. Chips is appointed housemaster. Housemaster means in charge of a hostel. Boarded. Boarded means stayed. Hastened. To move, moved swiftly. Moved swiftly. Students, I hope you have understood chapter number 4. Now your assignment is to write down the summary, to write down the question answers on this chapter. Questions you can easily formulate by adding the question words to a statement to the facts given on these slides. Good luck. Enjoy reading Mr. Chips.